designed to influence our election. I find that deeply disturbing, and I think it's time.
She has no idea whether it's Russia, China, or anybody.
I am not quoting myself.
She would say China, I think.
17 do you doubt 17 military and civilian agencies? Well, I'd rather believe Vladimir Putin than the military and civilian intelligence professionals who are sworn to protect us. I find that just absolutely.
She doesn't like Putin because Putin has outsmarted her at every step of the way. Excuse me. Putin has outsmarted her in Syria. He's outsmarted her every step of the way.
We get to ask some questions.
Yes,
and I would like to ask you this direct question. The top national security officials of this country do believe that Russia has been behind these attacks. Even
Possibly.
whether they are, do you condemn any interference by Russia in the American election?
By Russia or anybody else.
You condemn their interference.
Of course I can. Of course I can. I don't know Putin. I have no idea. I never met Putin. This is not my best friend. But if the United States got along with Russia, wouldn't be so bad. Let me tell you, Putin has outsmarted her and Obama at every single step of the way. Whether it's Syria, you name it, missiles. Take a look at the startup that they signed. The Russians have said, according to many, many reports, I can't believe they allowed us to do this. They create warheads, and we can't. The Russians can't believe it. She has been outsmarted by Putin, and all you have to do is look at the Middle East. They've taken over. We spent $6 trillion. They've taken over the Middle East. She has been outsmarted and outplayed worse than anybody I've ever seen in any government whatsoever.
You're a long way. You got about 45 seconds.
This is a person who has been very cavalier.
So wrong.
He said,
What's my on my glasses?
but here's the deal. The bottom line weapons is that when the president gets the order followed, there's about 4 minutes people responsible for launching nuclear weapons to do so. And that's why 10 people who have had that awesome responsibility have come out in an unprecedented way said they would not trust Donald Trump with the nuclear codes or to have his finger on the nuclear button.
Don't trust nobody with the nuclear stuff. Let's get rid of it. Too dangerous.
National Medal of Honor recipients. As far as Japan and other countries, we are being ripped off by everybody who are defending other countries. We are spending a fortune doing it. They have the bargain of the century. All I've said is we have to renegotiate these agreements because our country cannot afford to defend Saudi Arabia, Japan, Germany, South Korea, and many other places. We cannot continue to fool. She took that as saying nuclear weapons. Look, she's been proven to be a liar on so many different ways.
Well, I'm just quoting you. When
Such a hypocrite.
nuclear competition in Asia, you said, go ahead, enjoy yourselves, folks. That kind of
Defend yourselves.
well,
And defend yourself. I didn't say nuclear. And defend yourself.
the United States has kept the peace through our alliances. Donald wants to tear up our alliances. I think it makes the world safer, and frankly, it makes the United States safer. I would work with our allies in Asia, in Europe, in the Middle East, and elsewhere.
Let's be careful.
No, we are going to move on to the next topic, which is the economy, and I hope we handled that as well as we did immigration. You also have very different ideas about how to get the economy going faster. Secretary Clinton, in your plan, government plays a big role. You see more government spending, more entitlements, more tax credits, more tax penalties. Mr. Trump, you want to get government out with lower taxes and less regulation. In this overview, please explain to me why you believe that your plan will create more jobs and growth for this country, and your opponent's plan will not. In this round, you go first, Secretary Clinton.
Well, I think when the middle class thrives, America thrives. And so my
Oh,
programs since World War II, jobs in infrastructure and advanced manufacturing. I think we can compete with high-wage countries, and I believe we should. New jobs in clean energy, not only to fight climate change, which is a serious problem, but to create new opportunities and new businesses. I want us to do more to help small business. That's where 2/3 of the new jobs are going to come from. I want us to raise the national minimum wage because people who live in poverty should not, who work full-time should not still be in poverty. And I sure do want to make sure women get equal pay for the work we do. I feel strongly that we have to have an education system
it's not everybody.
and goes through college. That's why I want more technical education in high schools and in community colleges, real apprenticeships to prepare young people for the jobs of the future. I want to make college debt-free, and for families making less than $125,000, you will not get a tuition bill from a public college or university if the plan that I worked on with Bernie Sanders is enacted. And we're going to work hard to make sure that it is, because we are going to go where the money is. Most of the gains in the last so we are going to have the wealthy pay their fair share. We're going to have corporations make a contribution greater than they are now to our country. That is a plan that has been analyzed by independent experts who said that it could produce 10 million new jobs. By contrast, Donald's plan has been analyzed to conclude it might lose 3.5 million jobs. Why? Because his whole plan is to cut taxes, to give the biggest tax breaks ever to the wealthy and to corporations, adding $20 trillion to our debt and causing the kind of dislocation that we've seen before, because it truly will be trickle-down economics on steroids. So the plan I have, I think, will actually produce greater opportunities. The plan he has will cost us jobs and possibly lead to another great recession.
Secretary, thank you. Mr. Trump, why will your plan create more jobs and growth for Secretary Clinton?
Well, first of all, before I start on my plan, her plan is going to raise taxes and even double your taxes. Her tax.
We're going to the rich or just producing that more. They'll have more taxes to pay.
I'm a big proponent. We're going to do a lot of things for college tuition, but the rest of the public's going to be paying for it. We will have a massive, massive tax increase under Hillary Clinton's plan. But I'd like to start off where we left.
We're going to start off in the country.
Japan and Germany. Not to single them out, but South Korea. These are very rich, powerful countries. Saudi Arabia, nothing but money. We protect Saudi Arabia. Why aren't they paying? She immediately, when she heard this, I questioned, and I questioned NATO. Why aren't the NATO questions? Why aren't they paying? Because they weren't paying. Since I did this was a year ago, all of a sudden, I've been given a lot of credit for it. All of a sudden, they're starting to pay up. They have to pay up. We're protecting people. They have to pay up. And I'm a big fan of NATO, but they have to pay up. She comes out and says, we love our allies. We think our allies are good. Well, it's often hard to get them to pay up when you have somebody saying, we think how great they are. We have to tell Japan in a very nice way. We have to tell Germany, all of these countries, South Korea. We have to say, you have to help us out. We have.
Maybe if we made our own product, we would miss some debt. Other countries. Common sense. We're rich enough to make our own stuff.
So my plan, we're going to renegotiate trade deals. We're going to have a lot of free trade. We're going to have free trade, more free trade than we have right now. But we have horrible deals. Our jobs are being taken out by the deal that her husband signed, NAFTA, one of the worst deals ever. Our jobs are being sucked out of our economy. You look at all the places that I just left. You go to Pennsylvania, you go to Ohio, you go to Florida, you go to any of them. You go upstate New York. Our jobs have fled to Mexico and other places. We're bringing our jobs back. I am going to renegotiate NAFTA. And if I can't make a great deal, then we're going to terminate NAFTA and we're going to create new deals. We're going to have trade. But we're going to terminate it. We're going to make a great trade deal. And if we can't, we're going to do it. We're going to go a separate way because it has been a disaster. We're going to cut taxes massively. We're going to cut business taxes massively. They're going to start hiring people. We're going to bring the $2.5 trillion that's offshore back into the country. We are going to start the engine rolling again because right now our country is dying at 1% GDP.
Well, let me translate that if I can,
This is going to advocate for the largest tax cuts we've ever seen, 3 times more than tax cuts under the Bush administration. I have said repeatedly throughout this campaign, I will not raise taxes on anyone making $250,000 that the steps that President Obama took saved the economy. He doesn't get the credit he deserves for taking some very hard positions. But it was a terrible recession. So now we've dug ourselves out of it. We're standing. We're not yet running. So what I am proposing is that we invest from the middle out and the ground up, not the top down. That is not going to work. That's why what I put forward doesn't add a penny to the cap, but it is the kind of approach that will enable more people to take those new jobs, higher paying jobs. We're beginning to see some increase in incomes, and we certainly have had a long string of increasing jobs. We've got to do more to get the whole economy moving, and that's what I believe I will be able to do.
Mr. Trump, even conservative economists look at your plans and numbers don't add up. That your idea, you talked about 25 million jobs created, 4% growth, is unrealistic. And they say, from a lot of unemployment, the energy industry, they say oil prices, as long as they are right now, that's unrealistic as well. So just let some they're running at 8%. China is running at 7%. It's a catastrophic low number. We are running working back in the direction and it's come down. Last week, they terrible job. In fact, I said, is that the last job before the election? Because I should be before. It was so. The report was so. Look, our country is stagnant. We lost our jobs, we lost our businesses. We're not making things anymore, relatively speaking. Our product is pouring in from China, pouring in from Vietnam, pouring in from all over the world. I've visited so many communities, such incredible education for this. I've got to know so many, I've developed some friends over the last year. And they cry when they see what's happening. I passed factories that have following 20, 25 years ago because of the bill that her husband signed and she lost 100%. It is just horrible what's happening to these people in these communities. Now, she can say that her husband did well, but boy, they suffer this after kicked in. Because it didn't really kick in very much, but it kicked in after they left. Boy, did they suffer. That was one
Self-knowledge, serious face.
now she wants to sign Trans-Pacific. She wants it. She said she didn't want the vote statement in one of the debates. She told me she didn't want the vote statement, and they actually fact-checked and they said I was right.
I want to give you a chance to briefly see that. I want to give it to one sixty. That would be fairness now. There's a lot here. Go ahead.
Well, first, let me say number one. When I saw the final agreement for TPP, I said I was against it. It didn't meet my test. I had the same test. Does it create jobs, raise incomes, and further our national security? I'm against it now. I'll be against it after the election. I'll be against it when I'm president. There's only one of us on this stage who actually ship jobs to Mexico because that's not means ship jobs to 12 countries, including Mexico. They mentioned China. And, you know, one of the biggest problems we have with China is the illegal dumping of steel and aluminum into our markets. I have fought against that. As a senator, I stood up against it. As Secretary of State, Donald has bought Chinese steel and aluminum. In fact, the Trump hotel right here in Las Vegas was made with Chinese steel. So he goes around with crocodile tears about how terrible it is, but he has given jobs to Chinese steel workers, not American steel workers. That's the kind of approach that is just not going to work. We're going to pull the country together. We're going to have trade agreements that we enforce. That's why I'm going to have a trade prosecutor for the first time in history. And we're going to enforce those agreements. And we're going to look for businesses to help us by buying American products.
I asked a simple question. She's been doing this for 30 years. Why the hell didn't you do it over the last 15, 20 years? You were very much involved, excuse me, Michael. You were very much involved in every aspect of this country. Very much. And you got experience. I say one thing you know is experience with the bad experience. For 30 years you've been in a position now. And if you say that I used to hear, I used to I make it impossible for you to do that. I wouldn't mind. The problem is you talk, but you don't get anything back.
Amazing.
Just like when you ran the state.
Nice.
Was missing. I need $6 million.
you become president, this country is going to be in some mess. Believe me. Well, first of all, like you said, I've been through it numerous times. But I think it's really an important issue to raise 30 years of experience. You just talked briefly about that. You know, back in the 1970s, I worked for the Children's Defense Fund, and I was taking on discrimination against African American kids in schools. He was getting sued by the Justice Department for racial discrimination in his country. In the 1980s, I was working to reform schools in Arkansas. He was borrowing $14 million from his father to start his businesses. In the 1990s, I went to Beijing, and I said, women's rights are human rights. He insulted a former Miss Universe, Alicia Machado, called her an eating machine. And on the day when I was in the Situation Room, monitoring the raid that brought Osama bin Laden to justice, he was hosting the Celebrity Apprentice. So I'm happy to compare my 30 years of experience, what I've done for this country, trying to help in every way I could, especially kids and families, get ahead and stay ahead for 30 years. And I let the American people make that decision.
Well, I think I did much better job than the massive company, great company, some of the greatest assets anywhere in the world.
How the hell?
So,
I agree with that. It's a $1 million loan, but I built a phenomenal company. And if we could run our country the way I run my company, we would have a country that you would be so proud of. You would even be proud of.
So what, just be rich and be messy?
Take a look at Syria. Take a look at the migration. Take a look at Libya. Take a look at Iraq.
she gave us ISIS because they all created this huge vacuum.
And it's all group that huge vacuum because when they should have never been in Iraq, but once
They showed they never got out the way they wanted to get out. She gave us ISIS and she was sitting there. And what happened is now ISIS is in 32 countries. And now she's making ISIS. She's getting rid of nobody.
All right, we are going to get to foreign hotspots in a few moments. The next segment is fitness to be president of the United States. Mr. Trump, at the last debate, you sat here talking about rapping women was just that, talk. And if you think since then, 9 women come forward and said that you either broke them or why would so many different women from so many different circumstances over so many different years, why would they all in this last couple of weeks make up? Why would they all make up these three men? Since this is a question for both of you, Secretary Clinton, Trump said your husband did, and you defended Mr. Trump.
I believe it was her campaign.
That did it, just like if you look at what came out today on the clips, where I was wondering what happened with my rally in Chicago and other rallies where we had such violence. She's the one in Obama that caused the violence. They hired people, they paid them. They're on tape saying, be violent, cause fights, do bad things. I would say the only way, because those stories are all totally false, I have to say. And I didn't even apologize to my wife, who's sitting right here, because I didn't do anything. I didn't know any of these women. I didn't see these women.
They said
The one on the plane, the one I think they want me or her campaign did it, and I think it's her campaign, because what I saw, what they did, which is a criminal act, by the way, where they're telling people to go out and start fist fights and start violence. And I'll tell you what, in particular in Chicago,
People were hurt and people were killed in that riot. And that was now all on tape, started by her. I believe, Chris, that she got these people on board. If it wasn't her, they get their 10 minutes of fame. But they were all total, it was all fiction.
Well, Secretary Clinton, at the last debate, we heard Donald talking about what he did to women. And after that, a number of women have come forward saying that's exactly what he did to them. Now,
they're going to tell the truth.
He held a number of big rallies where he said that he could not possibly have done those things to those women because they were not attractive enough for them to be assaulted.
I did not say that.
In fact, he went on to say...
Her 2 minutes, sir, her 2 minutes.
I did not say that.
It's her 2 minutes.
He went on to say, look at her, I don't think so. About another woman, he said, that wouldn't be my first choice. He attacked the woman reporter writing the story, called her disgusting, as he has called a number of women during this campaign.
Stop profiling.
Women makes him bigger. He goes after their dignity, their self-worth.
Not just women.
I don't think there is a woman anywhere who doesn't know what that feels like. So we now know what Donald thinks and what he says and how he acts toward women. That's who Donald is. I think it's really up to all of us to demonstrate who we are and who our country is, and to stand up and be very clear about what we expect from our next president, how we want to bring our country together, where we don't want to have the kind of pitting of people one against the other, where instead we celebrate our diversity, we lift people up, and we make our country even greater. America is great because America is good. It is now and in the future, particularly our children and our grandchildren.
Mr. Trump.
Nobody has more respect. Nobody. Slightly different. All fictionalized. Probably or possibly started by the campaign. But I will tell you, what isn't fictionalized are her emails, where she destroyed 33,000 emails.
After getting 300 times.
What happened to the We have a great general, 4-star general, today. We read it in all the papers. Going to potentially serve 5 years in jail for lying to the FBI. One lie. She's lied hundreds of times to the people, to Congress, and to the FBI. He's going to probably go to jail. This is a 4-star general. And she gets away with it, and she can run for the presidency of the United States. That's really what you should be talking about, not fiction, where somebody wants fame or where they come out of her crooked campaign.
Secretary Clinton.
Well, every time Donald is pushed on something which is obviously uncomfortable, like what these women are saying, he immediately goes to denying responsibility. And it's not just about women. He never apologizes or says he's sorry for anything. So we know what he has said and what he's done to women. But he also went after a disabled reporter, mocked and mimicked him on national television. He went after Mr. and Mrs. Khan, the parents of a young man who died serving our country, a Gold Star family because of their religion. After John McCain, a prisoner of war, said he prefers people who aren't captured. He went after a federal judge born in Indiana.
Just speaking out everybody.
He couldn't be trusted to try the fraud and racketeering case against Trump University because his parents were Mexican. So it's not one thing. This is a pattern of divisiveness, of a very dark and, in many ways, dangerous vision of our country, where he incites violence, where he applauds people who are pushing and pulling and punching at his rallies. That is not who America is. And I hope that as we move in the last weeks of this campaign, more and more people will understand what's at stake in this election. It really does come down to what kind of country we are going to have.
So sad when she talks about violence at my rallies, and she caused the violence. It's on tape. The other things are false, but honestly, I'd love to talk about getting rid of ISIS, and I'd love to talk about other things.
Okay.
But those other charges, as she knows, are false.
In this bucket about fitness to be president, there's been a lot of developments over the last 10 days since the last debate. I'd like to ask you about them. These are questions that the American people have. Secretary Clinton, during your 2009 Senate confirmation hearing, you conflict of interest. You're dealing with the Clinton Foundation while you were Secretary of State. But emails show that donors got special access to you, those seeking grants for Haiti relief from non-donors, and some of those donors got government contracts, taxpayer money. Saying that you kept your pledge to that Senate committee, and why isn't what happened and what went on between you and the Clinton Foundation, why isn't it what Mr. Trump calls pay to play?
Well, everything I did as Secretary of State was in furtherance of our country's interests and our values. The State Department has said that. I think that's been proven. But I am happy. In fact, I'm thrilled to talk about the Clinton Foundation. And I am so proud of the work that it does. You know, I could talk for the rest of the debate. I know I don't have the time to do that. But just briefly, the Clinton Foundation made it possible for 11 million people around the world with HIV/AIDS to afford treatment, and that's about half of all the people who are getting treatment. In partnership with the American Health Association, we have made environments in schools healthier for kids, including healthier
Respectfully, this is an open discussion.
Well, it is an open discussion.
I understand, and the specific question went to pay for play. Do you want to talk about
there is
that?
no evidence, but there is a lot of evidence about the very good work and the high range that
and
the
so it's a criminal enterprise. Saudi Arabia giving $25 million, Qatar, all of these countries. You talk about women and women's rights. So these are people that push gays off buildings. These are people that kill women and treat women horribly, and yet you take their money. So I'd like to ask you right now, why don't you give back the money that you've taken from certain countries that treat certain groups of people so horribly? Why don't you give back the money? I think it would be a great gesture, because she takes a tremendous amount of money, and you take a look at the people of Haiti. I was in Little Haiti the other day in Florida. And I want to tell you,
Haiti and Florida.
what's happened in Haiti with the Clinton Foundation is a disgrace. And you know it, and they know it, and everybody knows it.
Well, very quickly, we at the Clinton Foundation spend 90% of all the money that is donated on behalf of programs of people around the world and in our own country. I'm very proud of that. We have the highest rating from the watchdogs that follow foundations, and I'd be happy to compare what we do with the Trump Foundation, which took money from other people and bought a 6-foot portrait of Donald. I mean, it just was astonishing. But when it comes to Haiti, Haiti is the poorest country in our hemisphere. The earthquake and the hurricanes that has devastated Haiti. Bill and I have been involved in trying to help Haiti for many years. The Clinton Foundation raised $30 million to help Haiti after the catastrophic earthquake and all of the terrible problems that people there had. We've done things to help small businesses, agriculture, and so much else. And we're going to keep working to help Haiti because it's an important part of the American
I don't want you to help them anymore. I'd like to mention one thing. Trump Foundation, small foundation. People contribute, I contribute. The money goes 100%. 100% goes to different charities, including a lot of military. I don't get anything. I don't buy boats. I don't buy planes. What happens? Wasn't
some of the money used to settle your lawsuit, sir?
No, we put up the American flag, and that's it. They put up the American flag. We fought for the right in Palm Beach to put up the American flag.
There was a